Super Bowl 58 has arrived. It's the Taylor Swifties and the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers, and it's a lot of people rooting against the Chiefs and people in this area rooting against Kyle Shanahan. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Welcome to another edition of ATL Prime Sports. Got Wayne Ridenhour in Memphis, Tennessee. Todd in the bottom corner there over in Stockbridge, Woodstock area. You can find us all at ATL Prime Sports on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Spotify, Apple, all the above. Just search ATL Prime Sports. You can find us individually at JJ Get You One, for myself on X at RWY Jr., for Wayne at Corder Todd, for TC Todd Corder, and at LG for Real Though, for Larry, who is out calling the Adairsville Tigers men and women's game tonight.
Wow.
Good luck and go Adairsville. TC, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing great, man. Check out the podcast I did yesterday with Rick Costin, who has a Twitter account. We had an ATL hockey edition. There's a great chance that Atlanta's going to get an NHL team. Go check out that podcast. It won't be very far from my house. They'll build it in South Forsyth. The arena will have 18,000 people. It's called The Gathering. It'll even be bigger than a Battery. And the NHL will come back to Atlanta a third time. We'll see if it's a charm. It should be. A lot of local financial backing, and it's the seventh biggest television market in the United States. It's got to work.
Wayne,
All right.
how you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm just glad to be back here with the TC, with the double JG. Just want to show some LG here, for real, though.
What are you, rapping?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing real well. I'm excited about baseball. And since we're talking about one Kansas City sports franchise, I figured might as well get the other Kansas City sports franchise in there. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop for the Royals, inked an 11-year, $288+ million deal today. Royals are going to be building around that shortstop for a long, long time. They're bringing in some young pieces. They brought in Kyle Wright, former Braves pitcher. So they're moving in the right direction, and we all know they got Will Smith, the closer. So they're going for a three-peat in his eyes.
Will Smith won a few World Series in a row. I mean, wherever he goes, the team seems to win it, but the Royals are always rebuilding. We'll see.
Always. But interesting. I like Bobby Witt Jr., great baseball player, fun to watch. 51 days until first pitch. Without further ado, let's talk about what we got on tap today. We will welcome Dave Cohen, voice of the Georgia State Panthers, and get an update from the Panthers, from Dave Cohen himself. And we'll give our thoughts on the Raheem Morris hiring and what the Falcons need to do at quarterback this fall. And we'll preview the big game this weekend. And our final pick six of the year, TC somehow caught up with me, so I could lose this thing. I could pull an Atlanta Falcons and blow a fourth quarter lead here.
I have a feeling you are going to Falcon it. No question about it.
I'm leaving it open for you. We'll have fun with the pick six. Dave, joining us live from the Cajun Dome in Louisiana, getting ready for the Panthers and Raging Cajuns tomorrow night. Dave, voice of the Georgia State Panthers, joins us. Dave Cohen. Thanks for joining us, Dave. How you doing this evening, buddy?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me on, and we're looking forward to getting things back on the winning track here when Georgia State takes on the Raging Cajuns. Although I will tell you, this is one of the tougher places in the Sun Belt when you play on the road to get out of this building with a win. Even back in the days of the R.J. Hunter, Ryan Harrow, Manny Atkins teams, Georgia State was rolling. It was tough to get out of here with a win. And right now, the Raging Cajuns are playing pretty well. They've won 7 straight. We, unfortunately, have lost our last 6. So something's going to have to give. And we'll see how the Panthers respond when we take the court tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time for Georgia State and Louisiana.
Dave, what's the biggest reason for the losing streak besides, not scoring more than the opposition?
Missed opportunities. For example, everybody in the Sun Belt this year is playing a 4-game road trip. And ours started in Boone. We lost to Appalachian State, gave up 41 points. 41 of the 76 that Appalachian State scored came from their post players. We had a tough time stopping their 3 and their 4, what we'll call low post players, and giving up too many offensive rebounds. Then we moved on to Statesboro. Georgia Southern had only 3 wins at the time, had a fantastic night shooting the 3-point shot. They hit a season high 17 threes against us that night. That was a couple of Saturdays ago down at Hanner Fieldhouse in Statesboro. That was the second loss. Now, this was all after Georgia State had won 5 of their last 6. So they hit the road feeling pretty good. Then the next week, we had to go to Marshall up in Huntington, West Virginia. Gave up too many offensive rebounds once again. Let one of their post players, Nate Martin, have a double-double against us. They pulled out a close win. And then we went down to Coastal Carolina in a game even I thought we were going to win. We lost in overtime after leading by as many as 13 in the second half. Again, Kevin Easley Jr. had a career day, double-double against us, and we ended up losing 85-83 in overtime, a very, very disappointing loss. And then this past week, back at the GSU Convocation Center, we dropped games. You know, just our on a 4-game streak, we come home to Atlanta, and we've got to play the number 1 team in the Sun Belt, Appalachian State. We ended up losing that game by 10. And then 2 days later, we got to play the number 2 Sun Belt team in the standings right now, the Troy Trojans. And they ended up beating us by 4 this past Saturday. And then we come on the road, and Louisiana, as I mentioned, they've won 7 straight. They're tied for 3rd place. So we get the 1, 2, and 3 teams in the Sun Belt back to back, and we'll see what we do against the Raging Cajuns. But the one number that jumped off the stat sheet on Saturday in a very winnable game against Troy, Georgia State allowed and Troy accumulated a total of 20 offensive rebounds. And you're just not going to win a lot of games when you give that many second chance opportunities.
Yeah, well, you know, Memphis is following a similar path to that as far as losing and winning games that they should not lose.
Yeah, I saw they had lost 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row.
4 games in a row, and then I think they well, of course, I don't think they won the last one here at home, but I tell you, I don't know if you caught that Tulane game, but Ron Hunter was messing around with Hardaway during one of the breaks there. I think there was a potential fight that may have broken out, and Ron Hunter was up there underneath Hardaway giving him one of these, like, come on, you want to go at it too? I think they know each other, though.
I did see the video on that. And again, from all of my 8-year dealings with Ron Hunter, who was formerly the head coach at Georgia State, I'm sure he was just kidding around.
Absolutely. They were both laughing about it.
Yeah.
Dave, two out of the last 3 losses by 2 and 4 points, pretty close games. And you mentioned it seems like the last couple weeks, the Panthers have just run into some career nights. Yeah, against Troy the other night, Rigsby scores 20 and knocks you guys off. So it really sometimes comes down to you looking at it. You got to box out, prevent the second effort, and maybe these close losses turn into close wins. Your thoughts?
Well, in each of the last 2 games, and you mentioned Miles Rigsby, very, very impressive freshman for Troy. Had 2 points at halftime, ended up with 20. He had an 18-point second half, and then go back to in Atlanta, the Appalachian State loss. They're starting 2-guard Terrence Markham, 2 free throws at halftime, 2 points. I think he ended up with 22 or 23. He went off in the second half. And, you know, half of that is on him, his ability to go out and score the basketball. And I would say half of that he was getting hot, our inability to kind of slow him down and take the ball out of his hands. So credit where credit's due. Parkham had a great game against us on Thursday night. And Rigsby came back and had a great second half against us in what was a close game Saturday against Troy. It was a tough loss.
You know, Dave, the points in the paint really hurt you against Troy, outscored 43 to 34. As it mentioned, you were out rebounded 48 to 32, and you mentioned the offensive rebounds. What do they need to do to break this streak to beat Louisiana? I mean, this is a tough place to play in. You mentioned it. Something's got to give. What stands out to you the most that needs to be corrected?
Well, forward, and I think head coach Jonas Hayes and his staff know this, Georgia State has got to get bigger along the front line. And I'm talking from a physical stature. It's getting to the point where the upper echelon in the Sun Belt is putting 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" on that front line when you're going into some of these Sun Belt schools like an Appalachian State. Not necessarily as much from Troy, but Troy can hurt you other ways. But Georgia State has got to get bigger, got to get stronger, more physical, more of a post presence. Right now, we're starting 6'5", across the front line, 6'5", 6'6", 6'8", or 6'7". You know, we're one of the smaller ball clubs in the Sun Belt in men's basketball. It's not to say that we're not skilled, but we're just smaller, and we do have trouble keeping opposing teams out of the paint and off the offensive boards. That's been evident. You know, you just threw some numbers out. I've seen the numbers game in and game out. You know, we're going to see it again tomorrow night. Louisiana is one of the better rebounding teams. They've got a kid by the name of Joe Charles, 6'9", real physical, been in the league a few years, knows the Sun Belt pretty well, and he's one of the top rebounding front court players that we're going to face. And they're playing here at home where they're 9-1. They've only lost one game here at the Cajun Dome this year. And as I mentioned, they're on a 7-game winning streak. They also have a kid by the name of Kobe Julian, the leading scorer in the Sun Belt at 18 points a game. So Georgia State has got their work cut out for them tomorrow, more so on the defensive end of things than maybe the offensive end of things.
You're listening to Dave Cohen right here on ATL Prime Sports. You can find Dave on X at GA State Voice. Dave, with transition from basketball, 9 days away from the start of the Georgia State baseball season, tell our listeners what to expect from Panther baseball this season.
Well, you know, I have not had a chance to go out and watch them work out yet. I can tell you that in preseason polls, and you guys, we have talked about this before, Georgia State is going to be picked near the bottom in Sun Belt baseball. As much as we talk Sun Belt football, which, by the way, sent 12 of the 14 teams to a college football bowl game this year, basketball this year, it will be a one-bid league, and it will come down to probably Appalachian State or Troy, possibly James Madison, who has the best overall league. But when it comes to baseball, guys, last year the Sun Belt sent 4 teams to an NCAA baseball regional. It might be more of a baseball league than it is a basketball league. If you really want to throw that out there, it is a very, very good baseball league. And, you know, we talked to finally go ahead and get started building that new baseball stadium on the site where Fulton County Stadium sat. Just about every program in the Sun Belt has a really nice college baseball stadium. Georgia State does not. We're still playing out at the ballpark at Panthersville. Again, not to go over it all again, but the Braves vacating Turner Field in downtown was really a blessing for Georgia State, because Georgia State ends up getting chunks of that property where not only did we get what was Olympic Stadium at Turner Field, we got the property that was Fulton County Stadium. We got the property that we built the new GSU Convocation Center on, so on and so forth. But from a facility standpoint, Georgia State has got to, sooner than later, show some progress with this college baseball stadium. It is a really, really good league. In our own state, Georgia Southern is a top college baseball program. Southern Miss is a top baseball program. Coastal Carolina, I think there's, 2 or 3, I could be wrong, Sun Belt teams in the preseason top 25. So outstanding facilities, historically strong baseball programs, and Georgia State's right now playing catch up trying to keep up with the rest of the league. But I'll give head coach Brad Strum he won 30 games last year in a season that they could have won 35. They ended up losing, I would say, 3 to 5 games on walk-offs or ninth inning home runs, so on and so forth. So I think he does the best with what he's got, but hopefully it'll get better sooner than later when the day comes that Georgia State baseball runs out to a brand new college baseball stadium on the site of the old Fulton County Stadium property.
Dave, can I go back to basketball real quick? You mentioned the size on Georgia State's line. You know, it's almost like a Division II size because you've done the Clayton State games before. I as you know, I'm doing them now thanks to you. And Augusta defeated Georgia Southern in an exhibition game early in the season. And Clayton State has a big home game against Augusta tomorrow. It's interesting. Augusta's really struggled this year. They're not the powerhouse they normally do, but it's just interesting that you mentioned the size up front for Georgia State. It's like the size of a lot of D2 teams. The biggest difference between D2 and D1, really the gigantic difference in the guard play. It's the size up front that separates D1 and D2.
Yeah, and I think part of what you're seeing when it comes to the whole transfer portal situation is you're seeing Division I guys of all sizes and of all positions, in some instances, migrating down to play at the Division II level. I know is Jamal Kleiss still at Clayton State?
Yes, he is. Yep.
So
some games he's playing more than others.
So there's a former Georgia State player, a former
Right.
Sun Belt Conference player, who's now playing Division II at Clayton State. More and more across the country. So Division IIs are now getting a little bit more skilled, and they're getting a little bit more size if the coaches out there, you know, dealing with kids that are looking to transfer, which it seems like everybody's looking to transfer up. They're looking to transfer down. They're looking to transfer sideways, but everybody's looking to transfer. Coaches are able to navigate it properly. They could end up with a nice size roster no matter what level you're playing at.
That's a heck of a point, Dave. And Clayton State is a much improved team over a year ago. It'll be a good one tomorrow at the Lock. Thanks again for coming on today. We really appreciate it. Tell the folks where we can listen at. Tell the folks where we can listen in at. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Tomorrow night we'll be on our 50,000 watt FM station in Atlanta, 88.5 FM WRAS. That's also streaming to the GSU Athletics mobile app on your iPhone or your iPad, and you can listen online as well. We've got a partner out of Savannah, Georgia, at lowcountryradio.com.
Thanks again, Dave Cohen, voice of the Georgia State Panthers. Again, you can find him on X at GA State Voice. Thanks again, Dave, and go Panthers.
Good luck tomorrow.
Appreciate it. We'll need it. And then a quick reminder, we got Miami of Ohio in Atlanta Saturday in the Sun Belt MAC Challenge at 2 o'clock. So
really? That's great.
Yeah.
Big time game, big time matchup.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah, but we got to get this win here and get out of Louisiana with a W.
Right.
Good luck.
Well, thanks again, Dave Cohen, voice of the Georgia State Panthers. As always, thanks, Dave.
All right, you guys take it easy.
You too. We'll be looking forward to the call. Let's go ahead and move from Dave Cohen and Georgia State basketball to the
Wayne in Memphis, the biggest enigma in college basketball. Let's talk about it, man.
Let's go ahead and slide them Tigers in there, Wayne. Give us your soapbox, man.
Well,
I want to hear it.
my soapbox is this. I think some injuries have caused the Tigers to not play as well or together as they need to be. One of which I think is key, and even though he wasn't a starter, is Caleb Mills. He went down a few games back, and ever since then, they just have been seem out of sorts. And also, there's when you put Memphis in the top 25 or the top 10, for some reason, the players here start turning into showboats. And there was one game that Malcolm Dandridge stole the ball, half court, was headed right for the basket, easy layup, dunk, or whatever. He decided to pull a 360 dunk and doesn't go in. So, It's an enigma for me as much as everybody else, but that's as much as I can tell you about it. I'm doing everything I can from the terrace level, section 219, row A, as I possibly can. And everybody around me is too. I mean, if those refs could hear what we're saying, I'm certain we would be banned from that Coliseum.
You know what? Assess a job from what you've seen that Penny Hardaway has done, because I'm telling you, when I look at their roster and I look at the talent on their roster, this is a NCAA tournament team with ease. This is a top 20 team, and they just seem to be so streaky. I'm not sure which Memphis team is going to show up.
Well, you should watch an entire game because they get streaky during the games too, in both directions. Negative streak, positive streak. And I think Hardaway's doing everything he can. I mean, they won't allow him to get out on the court and, provide assists for the other team members. So, all he can do is try to coach from the sidelines and get the guys to give all they can. And, we got a game coming up there, an away game. I can't recall where it's at, but and then after that on Sunday we've got a home game, and I think that's that may be versus Tulane, which is always a tough, tough team to play against, especially with Hunter being down there.
You got a road test against the Temple Owls, and you are home against the pesky Tulane Green Wave. At teams led right now. You guys are doing your part up there in section 200, Wayne. You got a 9-2 home court advantage.
Yeah.
So keep on doing what you're doing. They're doing good stuff good things, I should say. At the FedEx Forum.
It's the road that's been giving them the problem. I guess my dog Charlie wasn't a fan of Memphis. He wanted the heck out of the room, and then he heard us talking about it some more. He decided to bark some more. So he wanted to stay in and see the Georgia State portion of the podcast with Dave, and then I guess he's like, I'm out of here.
Hey, he's a local dog. I mean, what can you say?
He's a local dog. Yeah, he's local, all right. Actually, he's not a local dog. He's from North Carolina. He might be a Tar Heel. Who knows?
He's a Tar Heel. Well, guys, let's get into the big story of the weekend. It's Super Bowl 58. We'll get our final pick six of the year, where we get our picks, and we'll go ahead and go over some cool storylines. Then we'll get into the keys. Again, 49ers Chiefs, Super Bowl 58, live from Las Vegas on Sunday evening, CBS, 6:30. About 7 hours of coverage they're doing this year, which is absolutely brilliant, I guess. You'll get to see a lot of Matt Ryan. If you're a Falcons fan, you'll get to see a lot of Kyle Shanahan. So some storylines I'm looking forward to, guys. And again, these aren't keys quite yet. I'll get into keys in a little bit. But Brock Purdy, lowest drafted quarterback to ever start in a Super Bowl. Pretty eye-opening there. Super Bowl 54 rematch here. The Chiefs' fourth Super Bowl appearance in 5 seasons. The third team to accomplish this feat. The Patriots did it in 14 to 18, and the Bills in the early 90s from 90 to 93. Kansas City's looking to become the first back-to-back champs since the Patriots in 03 and 04. And Andy Reid is only the fourth coach in NFL history to make it to at least 5 Super Bowls, 4 with the KC Chiefs and 1 with the Philadelphia Eagles when he was over there in Philly. So those are some storylines I'm looking forward to, guys. Any other fun storylines you're looking towards in this game before we get into the keys to victory?
You mentioned Andy Reid, JJ. They've had where coaches have had a rematch. This will be the rematch between Reid and Shanahan. And just as stated Shanahan, and every time the rematch always goes to the first guy that won it. And Andy Reid, I don't know. I mean, look, Kansas City is a hot team right now. They've been hot since the playoffs started. San Francisco has not been hot. They're fortunate to be in the Super Bowl. They could have easily lost to Green Bay and should have lost to Detroit, but they did not. They were, a lot of resiliency to win these games. But I'll tell you right now, they get behind against Mahomes, it'll be over in a New York minute. Pat Mahomes is a special generation type quarterback. I mean, he wins. He puts himself in some huge company with the Bradshaws and the Joe Montanas and et cetera. And like you mentioned earlier, a chance to go back to back. And, in the National Football League, the Atlanta Falcons, they surely know how important it is to have a quarterback. Now, you don't have to have a great quarterback like Kansas City to win it. And Brock Purdy, despite what everybody says, he's one hell of a quarterback too. But it sure does help and it hides some deficiencies that your team may have. But these games are all one up front. And whoever, it's all one up front. And Pat Mahomes said it yesterday. He said, if we don't have the big uglies up front, we're going to lose. And Kansas City, you watch their line play in the playoffs so far, it's been the best. And that's why they're there.
Yeah, I'll get a storyline from Wayne or any comments on the game before we get into the keys, Wayne.
No, man, I'll tell you, the only comment I've got is this may be the least interesting Super Bowl that's ever been on when I'm around, because I really don't like either one of these teams. And, if somebody were to ask me Super Bowl, I'd say, I'm not much into bowling, so I'll just have the soup. I will say this, though. I understand that they may be showing Heidi on one of the other channels, and I think I might watch that instead of the game.
That's interesting.
Oh, classic Wayne.
I'll stick with the Super Bowl.
Well, Todd, I'm locked into this one Sunday night for sure. The storylines are intriguing, as I mentioned, and you mentioned one of the storylines, which leads into my key to the game. My first key to victory for the 49ers is they got to start fast. We've seen them start out slow in 2 consecutive playoff games. Down 7 to Green Bay, had to storm back in the fourth quarter on offense there to do that. And obviously down 17 in the NFC title game in the second half. Game was eerily similar to the 2012 NFC Championship game, Falcons-Niners as well. But yeah, they got to get out to a fast start, Todd. You mentioned it up front. They're going to have to push around Chris Jones and this defensive front that's been effective at getting to the quarterback all year, effective at stopping pretty much everybody they've faced. Number 1 defense, but both these teams have really great defenses. 2 top 3 units coming in terms of scoring defense, Todd. So this is going to be a brutal game. But honestly, it seems like, and I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like when you have 2 defensive juggernauts coming into the game, it seems like you always have an offensive output. So I'm anxious to see how this one goes, but that's my first key to victory. And then, Todd, it looks like we agree. If San Francisco is going to win this game, they're going to have to start out fast, and it's going to rely on Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, getting it distributed to McCaffrey, to Samuel, to Ayuk, to George Kittle, and all the playmakers on the outside. Your thoughts, your next key, or
here's the situation. The fullback today is not really a whole ton existent in the NFL anymore. And to me, it is gigantic for San Francisco. They have one hell of a fullback. They're going to go to a fullback, 2 tight end set, 21. They're going to run the football. That's their chance. If they can't run it, they're going to pin their ears back and come after Purdy, and he's going to have problems. They have got to establish the run, and they've got to win the time of possession. Because if they're running the ball with the old school football with 2 or 3 tight ends and a fullback and keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines, I don't care who you are, they got a shot to win the game. But flipping the script, they haven't stopped the run. We're the diddly poo. And Kansas City with Pacheco has ran it right down everybody's throat. They even did it in the first half against Baltimore to set the tone of that game. And if Mahomes has any type of running game, well, he's impossible to stop. Just a once in a generational lifetime quarterback. I mean, his numbers right now eclipse Brady's. I mean, he's playing at such an unbelievable level that San Francisco's gonna have to turn them over also. And Mahomes hasn't been turning the ball over. Look what he does in the playoffs. All he does is just win. He's only lost to Brady twice, and he lost to Joe Burrow, who's a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in on you and piggyback on that. 21 personnel. I have it in my keys right here. I'm looking at it. You stole the words. You stole my thunder, Todd. No, I'm just teasing. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver. That's what the 21 personnel means for folks who are just jumping on board with personnel there. But the 49ers are one of the only teams, if not, I think they are the only team that does line up with the fullback, and that is 44, Kyle Juszczyk. He's a huge playmaker, and he's my next key, is they will run that 21 personnel, which basically is an old school I formation. So you're going to see power run game. And the crazy thing about it is Shanahan's so brilliant, he will throw out of that formation. And when they are in that formation and that personnel, you have to play a base defense because you can do anything and everything out of that. And Todd, it goes back to you. If they are running the ball with Christian McCaffrey, he can run it out of that formation. You can slide Juszczyk to the outside and get him on a little dig route for a first down. The versatility is endless, and the possibilities are also endless with what you can do out of that formation. So that's another key. I'm glad you said that one. Another key to this one, Kansas City just isn't healthy at the moment. They are no one is at this point in the season when you're in the Super Bowl. But defensive end Charles Mainu is out with an ACL tear, and then George Stoney is unlikely to play the guard for Patrick Mahomes with the pectoral injury. Those are 2 key pieces to the offense and defense that's going to play havoc in this game. The health, and that's never good to lose one of your best pass rushers and one of your best offensive pass protectors. So I'm anxious to see how that battle plays out. Todd, what about you?
The depth of Kansas City will be tested dearly, but their depth is good. I mean, you're not getting this far without depth. Look, you're going to have to get to Mahomes. You're going to have to get him, and you're going to have to get him up the middle. Because if he rolls out, forget it. They don't really talk about Pat Mahomes and how smart he is at the line of scrimmage, adjusting the defense. He's seen everything at this point. To me, experience is huge. It's a huge factor in this game. And
I agree.
He can check off, change the play. He can take off himself. He's not a runner, but he can run. He's elusive as can be. And if San Fran don't get to him, forget it.
Yeah, that's my last key to victory. If the 49ers want to win this game, they're going to have to force turnovers and get to Patrick Mahomes. You're going to have Bosa or Chase Young make some impact plays on 3rd down where you're forcing Kansas City to punt and play special teams and field positions. All going to be key in this game, but the turnover battle, the offensive lines, where this game's going to be won. As cliche as it is, in a Super Bowl like this, these are 2 of the best teams in the league, and that's what it comes down to. Guys, that's about it.
I was going to say, you mentioned the special teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, Todd, get the final thought in, buddy.
I was going to say Kansas City has really excelled in that area, and so is San Francisco with their kicker, the kid from Michigan, Jake Moody. But I'll tell you what, he's been inconsistent. Kansas City's kicker has been more consistent this season. It may come right down to the end. Look, I'm going to give it away. Don't press in and don't bet against Pat Mahomes. Everybody's all said it. He's not going to win at Buffalo. He's not going to win in Baltimore. They're not going to win Sunday. Yeah, just keep telling him that because Mahomes is special. He's the Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan of this generation, and all he does is win.
The Kansas City defense, my final thought before we get to the pick six, the Kansas City defense has forced 11 more turnovers than the 49ers defense has forced 11 more turnovers than KC's defense, and the Kansas City offense has turned the ball over 10 more times than the San Francisco offense. That is going to be the difference. Does Kansas City of the regular season show up, or is it the don't press send, don't bet against Mahomes, who doesn't turn the ball over the last 3 weeks of the playoffs? So we'll see. Let's get to our pick six. We'll go over our standings going in right quick. Larry is at 52 and 68 in last place. One game ahead of Larry is Wayne at 53 and 67. And TC is 58 and 62, breathing down my neck after an 0 and 6 week I had last week. Wayne was 2 and 4. TC again 3 and 3, bringing his record to 58 and 62. He's the only one that's got a shot. Let's close out this pick six with passion and some fun. We picked 6 games. We're picking 1 game and the over-under. Then we'll do some fun over-under passing, rushing, stuff like that. They're from Monday per ESPN Bet and Prize Picks. And let's go ahead and start it, guys. The 3-seed Chiefs versus the 1-seed 49ers. San Francisco is a 1.5-point favorite. Sunday, again, 6:30 p.m. on CBS. Wayne, we'll let you start it off, man. What you got?
Well, because Atlanta is an NFC team, I have to default and go with the NFC team to win this and to cover on those points. All right. I also, I've got a cousin through marriage named Elijah, and he is a huge 49ers fan, so I might as well support him too by pulling for him.
Larry is going Chiefs in the points. Todd's taking the Chiefs in the points. I am going with the 49ers.
Good, you won't lose.
I am going to make this thing interesting. But to me, it comes down to the balance of the 49ers prevails. Top 3 in the NFL in both offense and defense. Averaged over 140 rushing yards a game, over 250 passing yards per game. The fact that the 49ers haven't played up to 100% yet during the playoff run is scary to me, and that's why I'm leaning on the Niners. If they play a clean football game for 60 minutes, they are the better team. And this don't press send, and don't bet against Mahomes won't matter. 49ers cover. Again, Larry's taking the Chiefs. Todd, anything you want to say on why you're taking the points?
Look, man, you can throw all the stats out the stupid window when it comes to this game. It's how you're playing in the postseason and how you got there. And there's no question Kansas City has been the best team thus far. We'll see if they're the best team on Sunday, but I'm not betting against the best quarterback in football. No way. Now, Purdy has done a great job, but he has turned the ball over in this playoff. He turned it over against Detroit, but he great job in the third quarter with his arms and legs. You got to give him a ton of credit to come back against a Detroit team that should be in this game, and they're not. That's making me sick, by the way. That's why I have the Red Wings on today. And the fact that, they escaped against Green Bay. I mean, Jordan Love farted it. I mean, he decided to throw the ball, roll out, jump pass to the middle of the field, no chance. So they're not going to get away with those mistakes against Mahomes, and I just see Kansas City winning this thing outright.
Yeah, I don't think they make those mistakes. I think they clean those up, and that's why I say it's been scary. But there's no wrong answer until it actually happens. The over-under in this game, total points is 47 and a hook. TC, you got the over, you got the under?
He said it was 47 and a half.
47 and a half.
Well, you're talking, I don't know. Kansas City's defense has just been outstanding. They've only allowed 3 points in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. So at 47 and a half, their offense should get in the 20s. I don't think San Francisco gets to the 20s. So what we say, 28, 20, 27, 20. I'll say 27-19 Kansas City. It's just under.
Just under. Wayne, what say you?
Well, I'm going with the over on this one just because I feel like it.
Hey, look, that's how I am when 2 defensive units come into the Super Bowl. They've had the extra week to prepare. I'm going with the over as well.
Good, I'm glad you are.
I think both offenses are going to show up. and Larry's taking the over as well.
Good.
So very, very interesting so far. Start to the pick six.
Yeah.
Could Todd catch me? Now we will do a tiebreaker. We'll pick the score, and then whoever's closest or whatever, if need be. But yeah, so the over under, we got 3 overs, 1 under. Larry over on that one as well. Wayne over, me over, and then Todd is taking the under. The third pick six, Brock Purdy over under 247.5 passing yards. Wayne, we'll let you start it off, buddy.
I'm taking the over on this one because it's a key part of them winning this game.
Over 247.5 yards passing.
What do you got, JJ?
Man, I had a little strategy going into this thing. I'm going to go with the over on this. I'm going to stick with my strategy. Over on Brock Purdy's passing. I think they hit about the 250 mark. That's what they're going to need to win this game. I'm going over on the passing.
Now, I'm going under. They're going to have to run the ball to win this game. I just don't see them throwing for 250 unless they get, McCaffrey going. Kansas City's D has been lights out. I'll go under.
And for Larry, he's going under 247.5.
Yep.
So we're going with the fourth pick. Patrick Mahomes over under 264.5 yards passing. Again, this is by Prize Picks. These are the Prize Picks edition of this. I'll tee this one off. Look, I'm going to go with over on Patrick Mahomes as well. I think, again, I'm going high-scoring game. I think both these offensive juggernauts, Andy Reid and Shanahan, are going to have every play call available to them. They're going to use everything. They're going to use maybe a trick play or two, maybe a fake punt, something like that, a trick play later on in the game. Both of them get over Patrick Mahomes, 264.5 yards.
I'll go over on that one. They're going to have to win it throwing the ball. There's no question. But I'm real close because I tell you what, Pacheco gets going. Nobody's going over 264. So I'll say the over. He's the best quarterback in the game.
So you're going under Purdy, over Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the thing. Don't press
like it.
in.
Wayne, what you got?
I'm
Over
taking
or under
I'm taking the
264.5 passing yards.
I'm taking the under on this one because I got a feeling that Mahomes' head has swollen up so much that it's going to be really tight in that helmet. It's going to affect his ability to pass.
Larry is going over 264.5 as well. That's
No, I'm
for
under.
And Wayne is under 264.5 yards passing. The fifth category we are gambling on for the fun of it, Travis Kelce over under 71.5 receiving yards. Todd, what say you?
That's the easiest one on the board. Well, besides Kansas City winning, over. Mahomes going to throw it to him all day long. They got nobody to cover him.
He is a matchup nightmare. I think both these tight ends are going to have great days. And I'm going to call a bold prediction. I say one of these tight ends gets the Super Bowl MVP award.
Wow.
Wayne,
Right.
what say you? Travis Kelce over under 71.5 yards receiving.
Under.
Come on, as well go for broke. You wait.
I'm playing with house money at this point.
Right,
I got no chance
Trying
of
to get
winning the
best
thing.
record possible. Make it fun. Make it fun. All right, Travis Kelce over or under 71.5 yards. Over for Larry. I'm continuing my theme. Over for Travis Kelce as well.
Expected a high-scoring game.
That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting both masterminds to show up and just to entertain the world for one final game. All right, guys, our final category of the Pick Six for the season. The over-under on 90.5 rushing yards for Christian McCaffrey. Larry's starting this one off. He's going under 90.5 for Christian McCaffrey.
You go.
TC, what you got?
You go.
Me?
Yep.
I'm going over. I'm going to go over 90.5 rushings. I think he'll have about 92 yards rushing, and I'm going with the over. So That was kind of my strategy going in. I'm going over on everything just in case the 49ers do lose. So I just need one bad boy. I just need one of these. I'm going over the rushing yards. TC, what you got?
Man, this is a hard one. I think it's the hardest
hard.
of all, actually. I wrestle with this one. You get 100 yards, it helps, but they're going to need more than 100 yards from McCaffrey to win the game. He's going to have a colossal effort. I'll say he gets over. Is that the last category? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the last category. And then
we're going to have some fun. Pacheco or something.
Well, I was, but I went Christian McCaffrey because he's more fun to watch.
Well, he is fun to watch. No doubt.
He is very fun to watch, so I went with him instead of Pacheco.
Cool.
All right, Wayne, what you got? Over or under the 90 yards? Under?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go under. 90.5 is an awful lot for a Super Bowl.
It is quite a bit for a Super Bowl. Larry's thinking the same thing as you. Again, 90.5. Larry and Wayne are going under.
You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going under too.
You're going under?
He has been shut people down. They're going to shut McCaffrey down. I really think they are. It'll be interesting, though, going back to that 21 personnel, is to me, that is gigantic. If San Francisco can't run, they are toast. See, KC might not be able to run, but Mahomes can, nothing against Brock Purdy, but he needs a running game more than Mahomes does.
100% agree with you. That's why I'm going with the over on that, because if they win, it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, in my honest opinion, are going to be hand in hand.
If I pull this out, just remember 2 words. 3, don't press send. That will do you in. If you lose, and you very well will lose if I hit, you're because I think we went the opposite on all of them except for one, right?
Yeah, we're pretty much opposite on one, so we can tie, or
we should do a tiebreaker.
We'll do a tiebreaker score. So we'll do the score of the Super Bowl right now between Todd and I.
Yeah, I got a feeling I'm tying you. It's going to come down to the score.
I'm going to go with a high score. I'm going with over the point. So I'm thinking a 30-27 San Fran for me.
They're going to score 30 on Kansas City? Well, we'll see. Me, the Chiefs D, no. I say it'll be 27.
You're going 27-20.
27-19.
27-20, you work. 27-20 works for you.
Yeah, I'm going with a funky Cole Medina score. 27-19.
27-19. I like it. The weird scores are fun. That'll be for Todd and I only, if need be. He's got KC winning. I got San Fran winning.
Let him pick the
final. What a great fun guy, guys. Thanks for doing the pick six. It's been fun.
Hey, wait a minute. Let him pick the final score. Let Wayne pick it.
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne. Do a final score.
Well, I think the final score is going to be a 28-35 in favor of San Francisco. And that means no field goals. There won't be any field goals because I think we need to get into the era of no more government subsidies for field goals.
Boy, I tell you what, the government subsidies would be another topic. I'll just leave that alone.
Well, guys, that wraps up our pick six for the season. Let's get our final thought. I'll tee this one off. Boy, the Oakland A's to Las Vegas has taken another 180-degree turn when the mayor today said, the mayor of Las Vegas said, it might be a better idea for the A's to stay in the Bay Area. So things are getting kind of down to the nitty-gritty for the A's. They have one more year left on their lease in Oakland. Then they have nowhere to play. And boy, it's just getting to be crazy.
You don't mind me asking, but I thought we were going to do the Falcons and the head coaching hire.
We can do that next week.
Well,
let's do that next week.
Dave on. We talked about Memphis.
You want to do it next week?
Yeah, next week is
good.
We
can talk about it next week. If you want to, go ahead and give your final thoughts.
Well, I'll give a final thought on that. You damn right I will. let's go back to 28-3 with 17 minutes left. The Falcons hired an assistant coach on that staff after interviewing 14 people for the job. One of the folks they interviewed was Bill Belichick. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, his team came back and won the game. The Falcons brought him in 2 times for an interview, and they did thank you for that, and they didn't hire him. And nobody gave the answer why in the press conference this week. It was about continuity, and everybody's happy, and it's glowing. And hey, Raheem, he may win a ton of games here. He just may. But I got to know the answer why they didn't hire the greatest coach in NFL history, who has 9 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, and 3 as assistant. Because Bill Belichick's former players, Gronk and others, have talked this week, and they are shocked that he's not the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, or that he got another job. And this is the stupidity of today. There was a report. The reason that Mike Vrabel did not get an interview or a job. Thank you. Yes, they said he was too big. Well, I'm sorry. He played professional football. He played at The Ohio State. What the hell is he supposed to look like? He's supposed to be big.
I don't get it.
What's wrong with our country? Have we gone soft?
We have gone entirely too soft, to where a guy is seriously getting not considered for a job for being intimidating in the world's most violent sport.
Well,
unbelievable.
You know what? Let me add this.
I'm glad we got this in, actually. I'm glad we did.
You know what? Well, we'll get way deeper into next week. I'm just giving the outline layer, as Eddie Murphy would say, and Beverly Hills Cop. I'm going deep undercover next week. I'm going deep into the story. And it'll be so deep that you won't be able to find me on the podcast, because I'm just stunned they didn't hire Bill Belichick. I want to know why.
I am as well.
And you know what? The advertising today on social media about Fontenot and Morris, the law firm, and he won the press conference. I don't give a rat's. You know what? If somebody won a press conference, Dan Campbell didn't win the press conference, and he went to the NFC Championship.
Football games.
Huh?
Amen. I want to win football games, not press conferences.
I don't care about winning the day, winning the week. Yes, you have to have a great practice. All I care about is winning on Sunday. I don't want to see pictures of law firms. I don't want to talk about kneecaps. I don't give a rat's bit. There's only one thing that matters, is you score more than the other team, and defense and a good quarterback and great line play wins games. And I don't care who the coach of the Falcons is, and they don't find a quarterback, they're not doing, as Jim Morris Sr. would say, diddly poo.
Nothing. It's all about the quarterback and what Raheem Morris does with that position instantaneously for his success. Wayne, your final thought? Well, you'll sign us off, buddy.
No, I'm going to let you sign us off after my final thought. But the final thought is, we've got this pick six going. It's a 2-man race to victory. And so I've decided that the prize, the major award for this, is going to be a friend of mine who is throwing out an old pair of Crocs. And they're not really Crocs. They're imitation Crocs. They're like bootleg Crocs. I think that pair of bootleg Crocs should be the prize, the major award.
Do they smell?
Dude, I'm not going to check that. When you receive them, you check them and let us know. Or JJ, whoever.
You know what? You just announced.
We are playing for prize knockoff Crocs.
Yeah, bootleg Crocs.
You know what? Hey, JJ, he already announced it. He thinks I'm going to win. He thinks I'm going to pull it out. Let me close one thing. Come out to the lock tomorrow. Clayton State's playing the defending conference champion, the Augusta Jaguars. They're a middle-of-the-road team thus far this year. They've struggled. Clayton State is one game behind him in the conference standings. If the Lakers can win, it's breast cancer awareness night. They can get right in the middle of the Peach Belt Conference standing on the men's side. For the women, they are in the middle of the pack. They've won 3 of 4. They play second place Augusta. The women start at 5:30. The game is at 7:30. If you can't make it out, it'll be live on the Peach Belt Sports Conference Network, pbcsportsnetwork.com. I'll have the play-by-play along with 1984 NCAA champion Tyrone Lockhart of the Georgetown Hoyas, who played for the great John Thompson. And the center of that team, you guys might know who that is. That's Patrick Ewing.
All right.
Guys, we'll have the links for that down in the YouTube video for all you Clayton State Lakers fans. For TC, for Wayne in Memphis, for Larry in Adairsville, I'm JJ. Thanks for watching ATL Prime Sports. If you like the content,
Go.
give us a like.
Sorry about that. I know you're a Maple Leafs fan.
If you like the content, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Get you one, folks.